All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Interrogating, series where I talk with interesting people and ask them lots of questions. That's a really bad intro line. I just haven't thought of a better one yet, so I'm just going with that for now. But today I'm with my buddy Anthony.
Hello.
Anthony is an aspiring movie director and writer.
Yep.
Is that a fair way to
yes.
say it? So you're going to be a senior in college.
Yes.
You just finished your junior year of film school.
I did.
Do you want to explain what that's like? Well, first of all, where do you go to school? What's it like? What's the vibe of film school for people who don't really know about it or anything? What's it like?
Yeah, so I go to Azusa Pacific University in Azusa, California, which is by LA. And it's a Christian school, small school, film program. It's okay. I mean, it's not the best. And so I started off as a production major, and that's how I met you.
Yeah.
But last year, at the end of that, I was like, well, this sucks because the production courses don't teach you anything. And, if you don't get assigned to be a director, then you're paying to go to school, and you're not getting to direct.
Yeah.
And so I actually switched to screenwriting, which so much more practical because, as a director, you're, the storyteller anyway.
Yeah.
So that's so important is the screenwriting and just, structure. And so that's going amazingly. And all the professors are very knowledgeable and they're very helpful and helping you understand story and your story and your voice. And, yeah, it's great.
Why'd you choose AP? Did you want to go to APU or did you want to go to because when people think of film school, you think of USC, Chapman, stuff like that, or NYU or whatever. Why APU? Did you want to go there, or was it just kind of
It was one of those things where, because I'm from the Midwest and I'm from so far away, I knew of USC, I knew those schools, and I had the grades. I probably could have gotten into those schools.
Yeah.
But also, I knew that those were gonna be so much more expensive than APU.
Yeah.
And so I had heard so many people say oh, don't go to film school anyway. I knew that going in.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but I still think I need it. And it being a Christian school, I knew that people my mom back home and people back home would feel probably more comfortable with me
than
being
a crazy USC or school or whatever.
And so I knew I'd be more comfortable in a school APU too. Okay. So
I don't know. You always hear oh, you don't need film school. Just go make your movie, do it on your own, blah blah blah. And I mean, I think it depends on the person a lot of the times, but it's for some people, it's probably they never would have made it if they didn't go to film school. But other people, they didn't need it at all. But I don't know. I guess it seems like making it in the film industry seems to be a lot more about your skill and your ideas and the way you can write or direct, as opposed to where you got a degree from. And
I that is 100% true. It does not matter where what school your diploma is from. It really you go to school, especially for it's different with production because you might get to make a couple short films, but you might not be in the role that you want. But with screenwriting now, you're writing the stuff that you want to do, and you'll have something. You'll walk away with a portfolio, and you can be making short films on the side. That's something that you can do as well. But really at this point, I think it's you learn the process, you learn the insides of the industry that you may not really be familiar with, and you get to meet people.
Yeah.
Especially I think your professors, if you meet good professors, they'll be able to help you in some capacity.
Yeah.
And even the students that you meet too, who knows where they're going to be in 5 years, maybe they'll be able to help you out.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot about just building relationships with people too.
Yeah. Would you say you want to be a writer or a director more, or is it whatever you can get?
It's I want to be a director. That is the end goal.
Yeah.
And if you look at the best directors, most of them are also writers because when it comes down to it, it's all about telling a good story. Yeah. So you can be a good director, but if you don't understand story as well as, the screenwriter, then it's never going to click as much for you. And so I just think that to be the director that I want to be, I think screenwriting is the way in. And that's what a lot of directors do. They write a script, they write another one, and then that second time they're like, okay, you can buy this script, but you have to let me direct it.
Yeah.
Like, because then you also have a little bit more power in that conversation, because it's like you have something that somebody else wants.
Yeah.
And so you have a little bit of leverage to get yourself like in that position.
Yeah. Do you know of anybody, or do you think there's ever been anybody that has never really been a writer and is mainly just like gone straight into directing, or does that almost not exist?
No, I mean, it definitely happens. Like, if you look at Steven Spielberg, like, if you look at his career, I mean, some of the first things that he directed, Columbo, he directed a couple TV episodes of Columbo back in the day.
Yeah.
He directed like some TV movies, and he didn't write those. I mean, I'm sure he had like his fingerprints like on the story a little bit. He probably, went through it, but Steven Spielberg is not a writer. Like, that's not what he does.
Yeah.
He works with the best screenwriters and is able to like accomplish that vision, because his material is the stuff that he wants to tell. Like, he already has an idea of what he wants that to look like.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are directors that aren't writers, but if you look at it, like, I don't know, I think some of the best directors, some of the best auteur directors are the writers too.
Okay. So before we get into talking more about like the film industry itself, and just asking you, because what I like to do on this like series is kind of ask questions that maybe the average person would ask.
Yeah.
Like someone like me who doesn't know anything about the film industry.
Yeah.
And just kind of pick your brain a little bit. But before that, just so people know, like in an ideal world, what's the journey like after college? Like if you could pick, or from what you've heard from other directors, what's kind of the journey to go from being a film student in college and then somehow making it in LA and like being able to make a career?
See, that is such a big question, because there is no one way. And like, it's one of those things that you don't like to hear.
Yeah.
But it's not like being a doctor where you go to law school and then, you
get hired somewhere.
Yeah, you go to medical school and you're a doctor. This is like, you study, you do these things, and then
I hope you meet someone.
Yeah, like, you're assistant for somebody for a while, you're working on your own stuff, maybe you try to do like some short films, enter those in festivals, you get noticed, you get a bigger project. There's different ways in. You can do the short film route, film festival route, independent film, and work your way up to a higher, to bigger budget movies.
Yeah. Or
a lot of people start in TV too, like J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves. They started in television, and they start in television. They get a series on the air. They start writing for they create a television series, which is hard to do. And like, if you can establish that you can tell a good story like in TV form, eventually they just they get their shot at a movie. And for me, I think that's my way in. I think it's going to be TV writer and work my way from there.
Okay. Are the TV and movie industries different? I mean, because when I think of Hollywood, they're all the same to me, But like, are they different, and in what sense? And like, I don't know, because to me it seems like all I ever hear about is the movie actors, the movie directors, the movie producers. Like, I don't know a lot of the names of some. I mean, eventually, like some TV actors get famous, at least in recent years, because of the originals and stuff. But I guess before, usually I didn't know the TV actors. I only knew them once they were in movies. And the directors, I don't know who directs any TV shows.
I don't really know that either.
What's the difference, and why is it so different?
Yeah, so like, I guess film just has more of a prestige behind it, because like film, like when film was created, like movies started happening. But if you look at television, it actually like goes back. The early roots of television is radio. So it was all about like talking, and like even then like the director wasn't important. It was always about the writing. And so if you look at television now, like the people that hold power like on television shows are the writers, because there's probably there's anywhere 10 to 12 writers in a room. It'll be maybe 8 writers on some of the more like narrative dramas and stuff, but if you look at like sitcoms and stuff, there's probably 12 writers plus writers assistants like sitting in a room just thinking up the story. And so they have the control because they know the story. And I guess like with movies, like you have the director, you have the DP, and the writer, like they'll write it, but once they hand it over, like they don't really touch it again. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like they may like, if you're the one that writes it first, you may get to do a rewrite, but sometimes if you're not like a well-established writer, you turn that script in.
They don't want, like, are there times when they'll get a script from a random writer and like never talk to them again?
Yes.
Be like, see ya.
Yes.
That's
crazy. And then they bring in other writers. They'll completely rewrite you. I mean, you still get paid.
They basically take your original idea and could just totally change it.
Yeah, and they can change it for the worse. Like, it just, it kind of depends on what happens with it.
Yeah.
And so in film, the director has that power. Like, okay, so like, and then there's also producers in film, which is completely different than producers in TV. Because when when you watch a TV show, those opening credits, like, you see executive producer and like producer this and producer that.
Yeah.
Those are the writers.
Yeah.
So like they get a different title in television. And so like the way, like, when you work up, like, as a staff writer, you're going to be credited as like, it gets so complicated.
Yeah.
But like as you work your way up, like, then you're producer, then you're executive producer.
Okay.
So like there's a weird hierarchy in television, where in film the producers are the ones that maybe you're getting the money from them, like maybe they're helping finance the movie. Okay. They could be like a creative, producer, and they bring the team together. They kind of pick the director. So like in some cases, the producers will like, if they don't agree, if you're starting like the film and they don't agree with the director, they can fire the director. Which happens.
Like midway through the movie.
That's what happened with Solo, the Solo movie that came out.
Oh yeah.
The producers fired that first director. It might have been two people doing that. Yeah. But anyway, like, so that happens. But most of the time, the director has the power. They have final say. It's their vision. In television, director doesn't matter. Writer holds the power.
Okay. So you kind of touched on it, but could you just break it down in layman's terms? Kind of like let's ignore TV shows for right now. Just movies.
Yeah.
What's the hierarchy or the differences of all these different labels? Because I don't know about other people, but at least for me, I don't know what any of the differences are. And I always just hear these random labels. I'm like, I don't know what that means. All I know is the director's important and the producer's important.
Yeah.
So there's writers.
Yes.
And they write it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the writer is also the director.
Yeah.
Not often, right? Or it just depends.
It depends.
Okay.
There are people, like, they exist. I think they're sometimes better than the people that just direct. It all depends on the person.
Okay.
Their sensibilities.
Yeah. Okay, so there's writers who write it.
Yeah.
There's directors who is it really how it seems in movies sometimes when they show other movie sets where they sit in this chair, they cross their arms with their dark shaded glasses and hood, and they're all angry and they're like, no, stop it. You go there. Cut it. We're redoing it. Is it like that? Really?
I think it happens. I think it all depends on the person.
Okay.
I mean, if you look, you can look up and find the directors that do that because they have a reputation for doing that.
Yeah.
But then there's other directors that are very calm.
Yeah.
They're very focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when you see them sitting back, like, yeah, they'll be sitting back, they'll be watching the monitor. Uh-huh. If they don't like it, they say, do it again.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that happens.
Yeah. But is their sole purpose, like, is the only purpose of a director really just to manage everybody and make sure they're doing what they want? Because, I mean, my buddy who doesn't know anything about movies, he said, like, what is a director?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah.
Can you, like, explain it just for, like, regular people?
Yeah.
Like, what does it mean?
Okay, so, like, the director, it's their vision. So they get handed a script.
Yeah.
They could change the script a little bit, but when it comes down to it, they are picturing the shots that you're seeing, like, what you're seeing, like, in the film. They probably sat down with their DP, director of photography.
Who's the camera guy?
Yeah.
The camera guy.
Well, but he won't touch the camera. He doesn't touch the camera.
This is confusing.
That's a camera operator.
So the DP is the manager of all the cameramen.
Yeah. And they
Okay.
they basically help set, like, shots and, like, what lens you use and, like, the lighting. They're like, that's kind of their big thing.
Okay.
And they, so anyway, the director will communicate their vision to their DP,
mm-hmm.
and hopefully they're on the same page. And when that happens, like, you get really good films. But the director is saying, like, oh, like, I want this to look, I want this shot, I want this tracking shot, I want, it's that sort of thing. I want this over the shoulder here, and I want this, this close up.
Yeah.
So they're controlling the shots that you see.
Okay.
And they're like, they have final say on production design. So like what colors are in the
and costumes and sets and everything.
Like everything has to go through them.
Okay.
So like every department head will, like, basically the director, you have like pre-production meetings where you're really talking with everybody, you're figuring out like the look that you want for the film, and then everybody else has to do
Just
that.
go with it.
And so like you're getting all these questions, like you'll get like 100 questions a day, like, this one or this one, and you have to choose.
Yeah.
But another, like, probably the most important part of that too is like you have to understand the story enough when you do work with the actors and you actually start doing it, you have to make sure that the actors really understand what you're going for and like the emotion that you're like you want to be portrayed in that moment, or like that sort of thing too. So it's really working with the actors and making sure that they understand the vision too. Like, and I mean, when you have a good actor though, they're going to do all their own homework. They're going to know, like, they're just gonna get it.
Yeah. So if you have a good actor, the director doesn't necessarily have to like teach them how to do their job. They know how to do their job. It's more of just like making sure they're on the same page.
Yeah. Now, also though, then you have some directors that plan everything out so meticulously in pre-production.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I've read articles how there's some directors where like if an actor does says one word or one thing different than how they envision it, they'll cut it and like make them redo and shit.
I mean, so with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Indiana Jones, with Shia LaBeouf, that's why Shia LaBeouf didn't really like working with Steven Spielberg, because Spielberg plans everything out. Like, he was always very much like, as a director, you also help storyboard the whole thing, which is, you pick your shots and everything.
And that's when you literally you draw it, or is it written, or is it digital?
Well, now it's digital, but like back in the day, like people would just
like hand drawn
like every frame, every shot of the movie. And Spielberg, his big thing was he did every shot. Like, he meticulously planned out the film,
and it was going to be exactly how it was on the storyboard.
Yeah. Okay. And I tend to also kind of like, I when I do my own things, I like to storyboard. I like to know exactly what, like, I want to see this movie in my head
before you even make it.
Yeah. And so with Shia LaBeouf, and now you can even do previs, which is basically like an animated version of the movie that's already done. Well, apparently Spielberg is so strict with that Shia LaBeouf felt like it was so restricting in his acting, and he didn't have a good experience with that. So like it kind of depends on the actor too. Yeah. Some actors, I'm sure, like, oh, like fine, like that's fine with me. Yeah. So
then there's probably also some directors that do very little or no storyboarding and just kind of feel it out once they get there.
Yeah. So it just depends on the person, depends on the actor. Yeah. But really, the director has just final say on everything, unless they're like a first-time director or like a director that still hasn't proven themselves. Then it's much more like the producers will have more power in that situation, because they're the ones that might have got the story to begin with and put everybody together, and it's kind of like partly their vision, and they try to get a director that shares that vision.
Okay. Producers now. So we got the writer, we got the director.
Yeah, they're in charge of basically everything.
Yeah,
in some cases.
And then there's the producer.
Yeah.
Now, to me, when I think of producer, I just think of a sort of the director, but a little more important than the director. But I don't know like what that means.
Yeah.
So from what I've understood, just the little time I was in film school, is that maybe they provide funding, and they like will hire the director and hire the people who are going to work on the movie.
Yeah.
Is that sort of accurate?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, what do they do?
Yes. So there are many different sorts of producers, and most producers like have their own strength. Like they know that they like, maybe they're just good at getting money from people. Yeah. And so like that's kind of, like if you need money, you'll go to this producer because they have the connections, they're good at getting money. If then some producers are just good at like putting together like just a package of great talent. Okay. And that's what they do. They know people that work well together, or like they know that, oh, this person will be able to do this for this movie really well.
Okay.
And then there's producers that are very like creative on the creative side, and they're very much like they find a script that they want to get made, and like they help with the story and the development. So it just depends.
Okay, so the producers are generally people that have already been established in the film industry and are like high up, successful people.
Most of the time, unless you're talking like independent film, which is like a whole nother it's just a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Where like you'll have people just kind of starting out, or like, and some producers like sometimes you'll see like executive producer, and it'll be like Steven Spielberg or like people like that.
Yeah.
They maybe they read the script and maybe they give a little feedback, but
they kind of just throw their name in there just to say, hey, look, Steven Spielberg is our executive producer.
Basically.
So once the movie's being made, are they engaged? Are they like on set? Are they like a part of the process? Or are they kind of just the guys that sit back and do the behind the scenes stuff?
Some of them are. Like some of the creative producers will be on set to make sure their vision is being executed in the so they'll be sitting watching the dailies every day. So dailies being
what's that mean?
So like dailies are like you film whatever you film that day, an editor is already putting together. Like there's an editor on set, and they're editing the movie as you shoot it.
So then how come after a movie's done being filmed, it still takes so long to finish?
I mean,
just all the effects.
Well, then you're
stuff.
You're re-editing it. You're doing reshoots if you didn't get a shot you want. You're redoing that.
Yeah.
Then you got color grade it. You're doing all this other stuff.
Yeah. All right. I have a question.
Okay.
If these movie people have whole teams and they're like got a bunch of people and all this money and the best editors and stuff, how come sometimes I'll notice when like there's really terrible continuity in a movie? Like, for example, or this was a TV show, so maybe it's different, but it's the same idea.
Yeah.
The other day, I was watching this TV show, and the one lady had a coffee, and it was full of coffee.
Okay.
Then it cuts to the other person, and it goes back, and the coffee's empty.
Yeah.
And then another time, I saw one where this lady had bangs. It cuts to the other person, goes back, she doesn't have bangs anymore. And I'm like, I don't know. How do you not catch that?
Well, fun fact, there's actually a specific job that is supposed to take care of that, and that is that's the script supervisor. And so they're on set with the script, and they're marking down takes, and like they're the one, like they're kind of supposed to be in charge of making sure continuity is right and everything. Mm-hmm. There was a movie that I was just watching the other day where like somebody throws a napkin on the plate, and it cuts to a wide shot, and they rethrow the napkin. So like it happens.
Yeah. Maybe they threw it twice. Maybe they threw the napkin, grabbed it, and threw it again.
What movie? It was a big movie. It was like a bigger. I forget what it was, but it was like a bigger movie. Like so it happens. But it's like before they release the movie to the public, they probably show it to their friend or their family. All these people. How does nobody catch that? Well, and it might not be that they just don't catch it, but like they might just need that shot because like maybe that part was the best part of that, and it just happened to be
and it was
at
worth
the same time. Yeah,
it was worth the risk of like
because like I'm also not one that picks up on that most of the time unless it's like obvious. Glaring like the napkin thing I just noticed. But most of the time I don't notice it. Yeah,
that's true. Moving on a little bit from the production side of things, when it comes to like the Oscars.
Yes.
How does that work? Like, who votes on who wins the movies? Because, I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of time, not a lot, but there's sometimes when a movie wins and everybody's like, what the hell? Like, that shouldn't have won or that wasn't the best. Who gets to choose? Who votes? Can we find out who votes?
So, with the Oscars, with the Academy, so like the Academy is an organization, and like there are members who are in the film industry, and it's kind of you kind of just get invited. Like I heard somebody tell their story of getting invited into the Academy, and it's real shady. Like it's not like they just got this small little postcard like in their mail, and like all it had was like the website and login or whatever, and you it like asked for your information. You just had to go send it back. It's
like
kind
a
of
cult.
It's kind of a shady thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So like in the Academy, there's like they're kind of divided up into sections. Okay. So like when you're watching like the award for best director, the directors are the ones voting on that.
But no one knows who the directors voting are. It's just a mystery.
I mean, kinda.
But like you can assume that Steven Spielberg is in the Academy.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, like if Steven Spielberg's in the Academy, then he has a movie that's nominated.
He can vote for himself.
He can vote for himself.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
it's kind of lame.
Well, that's like if you're running for president, you can vote for yourself.
Yeah, but like, fair enough.
You know, like,
yeah,
it's not.
But do you think him at this point in his life, like where he's won all these awards,
he votes for himself?
You think he votes for himself still?
I would.
You still would vote.
Every vote counts.
Yeah. What if you have a friend who's like never won an Oscar, and you're like, wow, you made a good movie, buddy.
Yeah, but if you can have like a third Oscar or fourth Oscar, wouldn't you want that?
That's true. That's true.
So you know.
How come they don't just do like a popularity vote? Like, because if it's supposed to be the best movie, why don't
for like best picture?
Yeah, best picture. Let's say the movies are meant for the general public, for people to watch. So why don't they say, hey, everybody in the whole country, go online and vote for what your favorite movie was?
Because they're uneducated in film.
But I mean, I agree. I'm on your side.
Okay. Wait, to go off of that. So the Oscars this year, for a couple months, we're like, oh, we're introducing a new category. It's going to be Best Popular Movie.
Oh, God.
And the people in the Academy freaked out. Because that's, no. You can't do that.
But wouldn't you, I'm with you, but I'm just being devil's advocate.
I know.
If the population of a country voted and said,
first of all, not that many people care enough to vote.
That's true. But let's just say everybody was really into movies.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to vote. And they were like, Suicide Squad was the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life.
Hey, they're entitled to their own opinion.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, but okay. Let's just say some movie that
a lot
like
of people didn't.
Let's say there's a movie that everybody agrees just like is pretty trash. That's like 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like pretty bad.
Okay.
But like if everybody just liked it and thought it was awesome and they voted for it, if the majority of the country thought that was the best, isn't that sort of the best movie?
No, because when they're talking about best film, they are talking about had the best acting of the year. Like
it's like talking about the art form.
Because it's art. And
Yeah.
a lot of people lose sight of that, but like film is an art. It's never been as respected as like the other arts or but it is still an art form.
Yeah.
And it deserves that recognition. So like when you're getting into like most popular movie, like
yeah, it's different.
It's different.
That's okay. That makes sense. Cause like
that's why people freaked out when they were like, "Oh, we're gonna introduce a new category,"
Yeah.
and then like 2 months later they were like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense because I think it is important to notice that there's a distinction between your favorite movies, and your top 5 like best movies.
But yeah, it's
like,
a distinction that has to be made.
Yeah. So now. For like the second part of this or the last part, I want to get into just some fun questions.
Okay.
So kind of relating to like favorite and best movies. Just off the top of your head, can you give me your top 5? I'm of 2 lists.
Top 5.
The top 5 favorite movies and what you think are the top 5 best movies, or are those the same for you since you're a film guy?
It's a similar list.
Similar.
So my favorite movie of all time is called Somewhere in Time. And it was made 1980. Christopher is Jane Seymour and Christopher Reeve, and most people have not heard of this movie.
Yeah.
Is it the best movie? No, like it has issues. I mean, it's 1980, like so it's kind of corny in some parts, but like the story is it's just so beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful story, and that's why I love it so much.
Okay.
Okay, so that's my favorite movie. Somewhere in Time.
Okay.
The Dark Knight.
It's amazing.
Now it gets a little tougher.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, the next 3 aren't in any particular order.
Okay.
National Treasure. I've seen that movie so many times. I don't care. It's the best. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Okay.
My personal opinion.
People would definitely disagree.
Yeah, because it has Nick Cage and he's a little crazy, but I love it. I love Nick Cage. Nick Cage is great. So yeah, okay. So National Treasure. Raiders of the Lost Ark have to be has to be up there for me. And
that's Indiana Jones.
Yes, Indiana Jones.
People.
However, it is just Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones is not in front of that movie.
But it is an Indiana Jones movie.
Yes, but it was before people knew who Indiana Jones was. Yeah, just I'm very specific.
Okay.
Raiders.
Okay.
And then the last one, I kind of go back and forth on this one. Sometimes I say Goodfellas. Sometimes I say Phantom of the Opera. Sometimes I say Great Gatsby.
Wow. Okay.
So now you see, maybe now you see me. I like that one.
Most favorite.
Yeah. Okay. I like all those.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Give me what you think of the 5 best movies ever made.
Best movies ever made.
This is a tough one.
It's tough because especially for somebody that's into film and has watched, they've also watched like what are considered the best movies ever made, like Citizen Kane, which it's cool and it was revolutionary.
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah. Okay. However, on that list, number 2 most of the time is Casablanca, and I would put that in my top 5 best movies.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. These aren't gonna be in any order.
Okay.
It's just gonna be
just give me 5.
It's just gonna be 5.
Okay.
Casablanca is up there. I think The Dark Knight is up there because if that movie came out today, it would win. It would be winning Oscars. Yeah. Like the only reason why it didn't win Oscars, I mean, Heath Ledger won, and it might have won something else, but superhero movies weren't in. Yeah. That movie came out today. That would be taking home all the Oscars. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So The Dark Knight. I think Raiders is also on that list because if you look at that movie, it's kind of a perfect movie. Yeah. Like there's some people that can pick
holes in it.
Yeah, but no, it's a near perfect movie.
Okay.
Jaws, another Spielberg movie.
Jaws.
That's always I think that's especially he was only I think 26 or like 28 when he made that movie. Like
that's crazy.
And he defined what a blockbuster movie was. Yeah. So like that has to be up there.
Okay.
I like Spielberg if you can't tell.
Yeah.
The Godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not even that into movies, but when I think of, like, the best movie ever made, that's what pops in my head. Yeah. It's not my favorite, but that's what I feel like everybody talks about.
Well, because if you watch The Godfather, great. And I'm Italian, so, like,
yeah,
it's a little bit of both. Yeah. It's great. Goodfellas. Goodfellas is up there, too. But that's honorary mention.
Okay. Do you think that, movies that are really old, like, you said like Casablanca, or what was the other one you said?
Citizen
Kane. Movies like that, or even like The Godfather, or any movies that are like older that are considered like amazing and people rave about them.
Yeah.
Similar to sports, how like a really old baseball player, people just rave about them.
Mickey Mantle.
And but then they say, oh, if they played today, they wouldn't be good at all. They'd get obliterated. Do you think that maybe the reason those movies are like so popular is kind of a nostalgia, or like they were revolutionary, but do you think if they came out today they would still be on that list so high, or are they only high because they're like really old and like revolutionary for the time?
I think if you look at Casablanca, because also I should put in my it's up there in my favorite movies too.
Okay.
But like if you look at that movie, it's near perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very well made story. It's so compelling. Like, so yeah, I think movies like that
stand the test.
Yeah, well, yeah. The Godfather released today, all the Oscars still. Yeah. So like, yeah, I think movies like that, the movies that make it onto these like best movies ever made lists, I think for the majority, they're timeless.
Okay.
Citizen Kane, I don't know why that's always on the top. It was just so revolutionary at the time.
All right, so some more just like fun questions.
Yeah.
If you could work with any one actor, so you're the director, you can have one star actor. Who do you want to work with?
See, he's had some issues of late.
Okay.
But Johnny Depp,
he's just such a legend.
He's my favorite actor, which poor. See, I don't even I feel bad. He's had some issues now.
Yeah, but
he's a great actor. He's so talented.
Yeah.
I would love to work with him.
Yeah.
I just think he's great.
Yeah.
I would also say Leonardo DiCaprio is on my list as well.
Yeah.
But
a lot of people in recent years give Jim Carrey a bunch of shit because they think he's crazy.
Oh,
but
he's enlightened.
To me, he's one of my favorite actors ever. Like, and I just like,
that
I'm so
documentary
inspired by him.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it always hurt me when people were like, oh, he's a drug addict or something. Like, something's wrong with him. I'm like, no, like, he's like amazing.
Well, and when you look at comedic people in general, like most of the time, they're not very happy people.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, but
he's great.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really great.
Okay, who is your biggest inspiration in, like, for what you want to do in the
for what
industry?
I want to do? Spielberg is one of the directors that I look up to most.
Yeah.
However, some of his movies of late have not like, I don't know. He's had some misses recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you just look at his filmography, he probably has one of the best filmographies of anybody.
Yeah.
However, but like the thing about him is you can watch his movies and they all kind of look like they look at like you can't. I mean, I don't think you could necessarily tell that it's a Spielberg movie. So I also like directors like, if you look at like Guy Ritchie, who did like the Sherlock Holmes movies,
Mm-hmm.
and like Tim Burton, who's Edward Scissorhands, and the like Batman from 1989.
Yeah.
Batman, like you watch a Tim Burton movie, Guy Ritchie movie,
Yeah.
you know it's one of their
Well,
movies.
I know, like Tarantino,
like
you know,
so like you have these directors that
like have their style.
I would tend to
You want to have your own
I
style.
would like to do that. I would like to be very much like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
I guess Scorsese would be one of my other. I need to talk about him. I love Martin Scorsese.
Okay.
Because I think he's just made some of the best films.
Yeah.
Like Goodfellas. He's just.
Wait, what are his movies?
So like The Wolf of Wall Street, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, Silence, which not a lot of people saw, but it had Andrew Garfield in it.
Okay.
Hard movie to watch, but like stunning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
The Departed with
That's
Jack.
really good.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson.
Give me just like your top 5 actors or actresses.
Okay, so Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Leonardo
Okay.
DiCaprio, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Mm-hmm.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
Matt Damon.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Ben Affleck. I love Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I think he's so talented.
Okay.
There's probably somebody really big that I'm forgetting, but
yeah.
Oh well. Gary Oldman.
All right. So those are your favorite actors.
Yeah.
Who's your
favorite
top
actors.
5 actresses?
Okay. Yeah. So, again, tough because there's so many, and there's so many talented ones out there, especially now. Like you're seeing more and more women.
Yeah.
But I mean, one of the big ones, which everybody's gonna like, Meryl Streep, iconic. Like even Devil Wears Prada. What? Okay, and Anne Hathaway. She's gonna make my top 5 too. So there's 2 in one movie.
Yeah.
Like just amazing. Anne Hathaway. I love her. I would also say Natalie Portman, because if you have not seen Jackie, and she plays JFK's wife,
dude.
she didn't win Best Actress that year. I think it's I was a little upset about that, but I think that was also the year that Emma Stone won, which
she's amazing.
She also is my
her.
top 5 because I love her too.
I love her so much.
So that's 4. Oh, Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at her filmography.
Just a legend.
Yeah,
Living legend.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, on that note, this has been a long episode, but I thought it was very insightful.
It's awesome.
Very fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Anthony. Like I said, this is my buddy Anthony Borelli. Look out, in like 10 years from now, you might have a movie nominated for an Oscar. Who knows?
I would love that. I would feel successful.
Thank you all so much for watching this episode. Be sure to drop a like if you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below. Ask them some questions.
I'll know the answers.
Questions. Also, check out my podcast called Peaked in Middle School.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
You're
Anthony's
welcome.
watched like every episode.
Yep, I'm a big fan.
We record in this studio. This is what this whole space is for. Put a lot of time into it. It's kind of my main focus right now. We just got Peaked in Middle School shirts.
They're awesome.
Check it out. They're pretty cool. Anthony got one.
I got one.
They're soft. They feel
good.
They're
so soft.
Unfortunately, we literally got like 50 people that wanted them in the first day.
Pretty quick. Like, good for you guys.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You got fans.
Yeah. So we gave all of them away. But anyways, if you guys want to check out the podcast and haven't yet, go give it a listen. It's the first link in the description. With that being said, new videos every Wednesday. And see you guys.
Awesome.